The man threw his cigarette onto the grass. The grass moved away on its own. Jack was shocked by what he saw. He realized the land was special, so he started digging with a hoe. He discovered the soil was not normal dirt, but a huge layer of clay. He immediately called his wife Annie to help dig, because Jack wanted to know what was hidden below. Half an hour passed with no clue. Just as Annie was about to give up, a terrifying scream came from the sky. Jack quickly brought a ladder, planning to climb to the roof to check. What he saw was shocking. The entire town was made of identical houses, and there was no end in sight. Before Jack could understand what was happening, his son Mike showed terrifying symptoms. Annie was horrified. She realized her son was a monster.
Are you overwhelmed again, Mother?
I am not your mother.
Not long ago, Jack and Annie wanted to buy a house of their own. A salesman named Tom warmly introduced them to a suburban house. Although it was remote, the price was only $100 per square foot. It was a perfect deal for the couple, so they followed Tom to see the house. But when they entered the town, Annie noticed there was no one around, and every house looked exactly the same, as if they had been copied and pasted. This strange sight made Jack and Annie uneasy, but they still decided to take a look. When they entered house number 9, Tom said everything in the house was free. If they paid a deposit today, they could avoid HOA fees for 1 year. They were tempted after seeing the house, but when they looked for Tom to pay, they discovered both Tom and his car were gone. Sensing something was wrong, they tried to drive away, but they could not find an exit. The houses were like a maze trapping them inside. Eventually they drove back to house number 9, so they continued looking for a way out. Annie found there was no phone signal, as if they were cut off from the real world. Again, the car returned to house number 9. Night soon fell. The car ran out of gas, and they were back at house number 9. Annie shouted for help, but no one was there. Hungry and exhausted, they went back to the house to rest. They found strawberries in the fridge left by Tom. Even though they had no taste, at least they did not have to starve. Angry Jack set the house on fire, hoping to lure out whoever was behind this. But even after the house burned down, no one appeared. The couple fell asleep by the roadside. The next day, Annie found a strange box. Inside was a baby. The box had a note saying, "Raise the child and be released." They did not understand what was happening. What shocked them more was that house number 9 had completely restored itself. To regain freedom, they had no choice but to raise the baby. Mike grew at a terrifying speed. He became like a 10-year-old in just 98 days, even though it was not normal. Annie had already accepted the bizarre reality. Every day they put their trash in the box and left it by the road at night. The next day, fresh food appeared inside. One day, Jack decided to find out who replaced the food. Maybe that person knew the way out. But while they were distracted, the food was replaced. Frustrated, Jack threw his cigarette. The grass moved away. This excited him, because Jack believed a path to the outside world was hidden underground. So he dug day and night. But after a month, he still found nothing. He became weak from exhaustion. Annie planned to follow the rules and raise Mike, so that the people behind this would release them. One day, Mike brought back a strange book. Annie asked where he got it, but Mike only made strange sounds. Soon Mike grew into an adult. Annie decided to follow him, to see where he went with the book every day, but she quickly lost him. Meanwhile, Jack discovered a bag containing a corpse while digging. He was terrified and climbed out, but his body was too weak. Annie found Jack collapsed by the road. She tried to help him back to rest, but Mike locked them outside. The next day, when Mike appeared, Jack had already died in his wife's arms. Only then did Mike reveal the truth. Jack and Annie were only tools to raise him, and now they were no longer needed. Mike put them in body bags and buried them in the hole Jack had been digging. When the hole was filled, the grass covered all traces, as if nothing had happened. Mike went to the sales office and became the next salesman. Soon a new couple arrived, and the cycle was about to begin again.